Welcome everyone to another edition of Play It Through, and on this edition it's Atlantis No Nazo, brought to us by Sunsoft. One of Sunsoft's earliest titles for the Famicom, Atlantis No Nazo, or Mystery of Atlantis, is a game that's pretty ambitious, featuring 100 different zones and lots of secrets and warps and all kinds of stuff in the game to really make it a pretty large overall title. But since it's a little bit hard to navigate, I'm going to be taking one particular route which will get me through the game pretty quickly, but also collect a couple of the items and basically showcase what the game was all about. This is just one of many different routes you can take in the game if you want to go and complete it yourself. As we begin the game, we're going to go to the left and grab a treasure chest and then start heading to the right, watching out for these bats, which do end up pooping on you if you let them. If you run into any enemy, it's an instant death. One hit and death is the case in this title. The weirdest slash coolest thing about the game is the way that the momentum ends up working. It takes a bit to get used to, but when you end up jumping, you can jump a pretty large distance, but it's actually very hard to jump a short distance. If you walk off the edge of any platform, you'll pretty much go flying in that particular direction, which can be useful in order to land at some key spots, and other times it can be difficult to land where you want to, especially if you're trying to go from one ledge to just directly below it. You'll see that a little bit as we make it a bit farther into the game. However, also with the platforming and jumping, it is exactly precise when it comes to when you land, you're able to jump immediately, allowing me to gain a lot of speed in some areas, and I really enjoy kind of jumping around and exploring certain parts of the game because I can get a lot of speed going when it comes to the game's platforming. You have an unlimited amount of dynamite that you're able to throw out and take out enemies with, and if you end up getting hit by your own dynamite, it is a death, which actually can be used at certain points to find different warps throughout the course of the game. As we begin the third zone, we're going to head over to the left and grab another treasure chest, and now we're going to use the first kind of secret warp that I'm using in this game that's going to take us from Zone 3 to Zone 6. Over here, you drop down this hole, you instantly go to the 6th zone of the game, which features the first item that we're going to be grabbing, which is the shoes. The boots or shoes allow you to actually jump on clouds in different areas of the game, and there's a few zones that you really need this item for, but it's not a necessary item in order to complete the game. Now, other items involved in the game are the bulb, which will allow you to see an area for a short time when you explode a bomb. This is basically for a couple of areas in the game. The S, which is a super bomb, killing every enemy on screen instead of just the ones that are right next to it. The up, which is one of the most useless items ever in a game. Basically, you get 3 points to your score every time you press the up button. There's the 2, which doubles the score you get from different stuff. The clock, which we'll be grabbing, which slows down the timer at the bottom. If the timer runs out, you do end up dying. The mic, which allows you to sing or speak into the second controller microphone on the Famicom, and actually will trigger all the enemies to freeze. There's also the star. The star is the most overpowered item, probably in any game ever, because it makes you invincible. Permanently invincible. Well, almost. You can still kill yourself with dynamite, and you can still fall down in the pits, but no enemy will be able to damage you, and we're actually going to be getting it in this level by using the boots to climb on the clouds. We can make this jump in order to grab the star. Having the invincibility will allow us to easily go through the very last room of the game, which can be pretty difficult if you don't have that particular item. Now, the items appear in multiple different rooms in the game. It's not just one location that these items are located, but these were the ones that are in the route that I'm taking. Right here, we're going to use a dynamite in order to find a secret door, and then use another dynamite to open up the door, and this will take us back to the 4th zone. Here, we're going to jump on down, and since we have invulnerability, we can easily jump on these spikes. The bats won't be able to hurt us, and nothing will be able to take us out. We have to very carefully land on these edges, and this is what makes the thing difficult. We have one more we have to do here, where we get to the very edge, and then jump, and then just slightly right on the D-pad, and this may allow us to sneak a little bit onto the platform. If you mess up, you'll end up going past the platform and fall into the pit, which would be disastrous. Here we're going to find that clock, which allows us to slow down the time. We're going to open up another secret warp, which is going to take us to the 41st zone. Not 31st, 41st zone. We're going to be leaving quickly, though, by immediately finding another secret exit and going to the 94th zone, which will induce seizures, so be very careful when looking at the screen right now. Porygon would be proud of this level, that is for sure. In fact, we're going to jump up here and get to this very edge and throw dynamite at the wall in order to get another one of the hidden doors to appear. Make sure you jump, though, in the air to avoid getting blown up by your own dynamite. From there, that takes us to the 97th zone, which we're then going to do a couple of jumps up here, and then a big leap off the top of this wall, which will allow us to land on these clouds and work our way over, which will take us to the final zone of the game. Now, for the final area, we just have to survive and grab the crystal at the end of the level in order to officially beat the game. Since we have the star for invulnerability, we can just walk on through. All the fireballs flying at us from these statues will not be able to hurt us whatsoever, and we can easily grab the crystal at the end, and we get our congratulation at the top of the screen. And that's it. That's Atlantis No Nazo. Yes, there are a lot of other zones, but this is the ending of the game. You don't even get an end screen or the game ends. But what's cool also, because of this, you can actually go back, go through the other door located here, and complete other zones if you actually felt like going backward. You can keep playing the game as long as you want, but we did technically finish it up. But anyway, guys, that's going to wrap up this edition of Play It Through. I'd like to thank you for watching, and of course, I hope you enjoyed.